Yes. Welcome to your Friday. Welcome to the stream. It's gonna be a good one today. Lots of crazy stuff to get into. Crazy possibilities of a John Wick Star Wars movie. Oh my God. Sign me up. Crazy reports of Daredevil updates. Crazy Daredevil updates. The villain. Some weird stuff about friggin' plots and rumors and things like that. And on top of all of that, and I do want to I want to know what you guys think. And what's up, everybody, as you trickle in. Crazy reports about the Echo show, and I've been watching a lot of the marketing and the interviews and whatnot for the Echo show. Is this show good? Because like I'm kind of, I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird situation where a lot of what's being said in the interviews and a lot of what they're talking about is actually getting me excited. It's actually getting me a little bit excited, and I'm in this place where I'm like, oh man, like. But I heard it's so bad, but I'm so interested in a lot of the stuff that the people are saying about it. So it's kind of a weird one. So I wanted to go over a couple of things that were said in interviews about Echo. I think that would be really cool. The heck just... What the fuck was that? And yeah, so we'll get into that. There's a couple other videos I want to talk about as well. Let me get this going for all of you gambling fiends. Let's get the gambling going on. And I also just want to say, what is up to everybody on Twitter? What is up to everybody on Twitch? What is up to everybody on Kick? I think we're still streaming over on Kick. I haven't actually checked into that. I'm going to check into it, okay? Yeah, so that's really, really cool. And I saw a lot of people signing up on Twitch, which is awesome. We appreciate the love. We appreciate the support. I'm still trying to figure out the integrating the Twitch thing into the Discord. Adam sent me a good video, and I should be able to figure it out. But in all transparency, I did get distracted by the aliens, okay? So, look, I had half a mind to literally just make the stream an all alien stream, okay? And I was gonna wear a tinfoil hat. We were gonna get the whiteboard out, and we were gonna be doing a lot of explaining and deep diving. I was like, you know what? Fuck it, man. Let's just do the deep dive on the aliens, man. Let's go all in on the aliens. But I decided, nah, like we'll do our thing. However, I would absolutely love questions about the aliens or thoughts about the aliens. And, you know, with these streams now, because we multi-stream, it takes a little while for, like, people to come into the stream. It's at least on YouTube, right? Because we used to schedule the stream, and that would, like, give people a place to go and congregate as they waited, and then, like, we would do the stream. So it's a little bit different than that. So I don't know. I mean, maybe while we're waiting for people to get in there, we could discuss the aliens a little bit. I mean, you know, just a little bit if you want to. Cat Williams, honestly, just as interesting as the aliens. And I did I said yesterday on Twitter, and it was kind of like a joke or a shit post or whatever, right? But I was like, dude, make Cat Williams Kang. I think that interview that he did with Shannon Sharp did like 50 million views already. And I tell you, that's a scary dude. I would be more intimidated by him as Kang than even Jonathan Majors, to be honest with you. So, whew, that would be wild. That would be wild. Dude, he was, I mean, can you imagine just some of the cold ass lines that he even said to Shannon Sharp? Like, can you imagine that? Can you imagine he like tries to recruit one of the Avengers or something, and then he just like kind of side eyes him and says, "Your allegiance to losers is so unlike you," and then bam, something crazy happens. Dude, I'm telling you, Cat Williams it's not a meme. Cat Williams as Kang, I kind of see the vision. You know what I mean? Like I kind of like am I way off? Am I out of pocket? Let's get this thing handled right to the front of the classroom. Everybody, what's crazier? And I'm going to do a poll. I'm going to do a poll on YouTube. No, I can't do a poll yet. I want to leave up the liking poll because you guys aren't liking the stream enough. Here's the question, though. Stop gambling for just a goddamn second and answer this question in the chat. And I'll be able to see you on Twitch and on YouTube. What's crazier? My belief in aliens or my belief that Cat Williams should be Kang? Which one is more crazy? That's really where I want to start the stream. I think that's a good starting point. Wouldn't you say? You can't say both. Your belief in aliens? Aliens? Your belief in an alien video? Aliens? Oh shit. Really? You know what that means? Marvel should really cast Cat as Kang. That's kind of what I'm picking up what you're setting down, chat. You know, and I'm glad we're having this discussion. I'm glad we're on the same page. This is good. This is a useful dialogue. So clearly, the takeaway is that Cat Williams should be Kang. Cat Williams. Okay, so homework assignment. We need like the deep fakers and the editors. We need to take the podcast. I'm dead ass, by the way. Some of you have the ability to do this, and you can do this, and you should do this for the betterment of mankind. Okay, I'll do my part and talk more about the aliens. You guys do your part. Take the Cat Williams interview, and you have to deep fake him onto Jonathan Majors from Quantum Mania. Maybe He Who Remains as well. And start deep faking some of those cold ass lines into. I need to see the vision. Okay? So that's what I need from you. And then I'll do my part and we'll talk about the aliens a little bit, okay? Both are way better than Kendall's Tiger Woods theory. Hey, you know what I was thinking about, Justin? And like, look, this is one of those, like, this is like a deep cut. Like, only about 3 of you guys are going to understand what I'm even about to say. But I've been thinking about that whole Tiger Woods theory, let's call it, okay? And you know the biggest debunking of that theory? Yeah, Kendall. Yo, here you go. Are you ready? You know the debunk, right? Jada. And also, one step further, if you look at Carlton and Will, okay, that's all we got to say. If you know, you know. All right, okay. There we go. Hey, there we go. All right, now let's talk about aliens. You know damn well, Kendall. You know damn well. Okay. So last night, aliens attacked a mall in Miami. Now, I'm not 100% sure why they would attack this mall. I'm also not 100% sure why aliens would need to go shopping. And doesn't Miami is there a sales tax? Is there a sales tax? Is there a sales tax in Florida? On like clothing and stuff like that? It could be biblical Nephilim. Well, you know, look, here's the problem with the alien conversation, okay? I'm really fucking into this shit. And I've been following it bizarrely close. On the Reddits, watching the interviews, you know, studying people, like, I'm all the way down. Okay, you remember that scene in Westworld? Where the one kid says to his dad, who's like, I'm at the bottom. I can see the bottom. I'm all the way down. That's me with the alien ship. Okay? So I'm all the way down. But the problem is, like, to go there to fully explain why I, number one, believe this, why I do think that something was happening at Miami. It's like a whole... It's not just something you can, like, easily explain. It would take a whole thing to do it. But here's the truth about the Miami situation as far as we know it, okay? And maybe this will change. In fact, I think it will change. But for now, what you're looking at is a massive police response, a ton of videos of people like running and screaming and some pretty intense looking shit. Couple of videos here that seem to show maybe something, right? Nothing conclusive on video. The thing that's odd about it is, number one, the official story from police makes zero sense, right? Number two, why aren't there more accounts of what happened? Like, just at all, in general, right? So those are the two kind of question marks for me. But the other thing that's kind of interesting here is that there have been other things like this, right? So do you guys remember I think it was in Mexico or New Mexico. There was something, people claiming to see, you know, really tall entities. There was something that happened in Las Vegas recently where people claim to have seen really tall, like, shadow-like entities. The shadow-like entities and, like, seeing that kind of stuff, that's definitely a category of things that people have reported a lot in the past. So, yeah, kind of crazy, huh? Kind of wild. So, yeah, and that's the claim. So, I think the reason, like, so why are people saying that it's aliens or whatever? There are eyewitnesses that said they saw these shadowy things. I still think there's, like, not this huge, like, we're not seeing, like, a ton of people talk about that, and you would expect that, right? Like, if a ton of people saw this, then, yeah, like, you would expect to see a lot more reports. My understanding, though, and this, I don't know if this is true or not, but my understanding is that some people that saw these things started shooting them or trying to shoot them. So, like, what most people were probably running from was just chaos and gunshots. You know what I mean? So, it's a tough one. I don't know if there's anything, like, super conclusive, but I will say this. The official story stinks. It's the biggest police response I've ever seen. And for people there to be saying that it was these entities that matches up with stories that we've also recently been hearing of, I mean, for me, it all tracks. Like, I think it legit happened. What was it exactly? I mean, that's all up for debate and speculation. But I would say, I think regardless of how you slice it, right? Regardless of how you slice it, even if you think it's all BS, I think you have to admit that over the past couple of years, more and more stuff has come out, and there seems to be some kind of momentum building with all of that stuff and the people that believe in it. And then, you know, with like David Grush and the UAP stuff, and that has cracked into mainstream in a lot of different ways, and catastrophic disclosure and all of these different ideas and things. I think even if you think it's all BS, you have to admit it is interesting that all of this stuff is seemingly happening more and more, getting more coverage, being brought more to the front of our consciousness. You know what I mean? So who knows? Maybe a big nothing burger down in Miami. Maybe just one more sign that we are living in very strange times. You know what I mean? Very, 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 very strange times. So, no phone footage. Well, so there is some phone footage, but here's the thing about phone footage, right? And again, this is like get the tinfoil hat on, right? Get the tinfoil hat on, right? But you know, I was talking to somebody on Twitter about this. There's this gentleman, Gary Nolan. I find him to be one of the most fascinating people within the, I guess, space or community, or however you would describe it. Okay. Now, Gary Nolan is really interesting because he's a scientist, and he's actually one of the people that came forward to debunk the mummified bodies that were shown off in Mexico. Y'all remember when Mexico brought out the bodies? And we were like, what? You know what I mean? The thing about those bodies that's interesting is they're not fake in the sense that they were a purposely created hoax, right? Sometimes, and this has happened before, people will take bones of different animals or different fossils and try to make an alien body for clout, essentially. So it was proven that that's not what happened with these bodies. However, Gary Nolan came over and looked at the data and examined them, and he came to the conclusion that they're basically younger hominids. They were human, essentially, and they had some kind of genetic issue, a bunch of tumors, and they were sort of deformed, and that's kind of why they look like that, right? Now, why is that important? Well, because Gary Nolan also has done a lot of, like, testing of the brains of people that claim to have seen UFOs and that have had experiences. And he's actually, like, leading the field with this kind of, like, recent discovery of, like, I've talked to some of you guys about this before, but there's, like, this group of cells on the hippocampus that seems to be, like, either a new part of the brain or some kind of advancement of the hippocampus that is very rare in humans, but seems to, like, disproportionately exist within people that see these things. Okay? So that's interesting because Gary is a person that debunked the mummified bodies and yet claims to believe in the entities, in something extra dimensional, extraterrestrial. And he seems to have actual scientific evidence that something is going on. But it's not the little mummy bodies in Mexico, right? So to take it full circle, why no cameras? Why no shots? Well, if they exist on a sort of frequency or beam into our reality, kind of like Plato's cave. You guys familiar with that concept? Plato's cave, anybody? If they're beaming in or, projecting into our reality, then we probably wouldn't easily be able to photograph them. You know what I mean? So that's probably what's going on for at least some of this stuff. You know? So to me, I mean, that just feels like the obvious answer. And also, too, the idea of, like, traveling through physical space, if you were, like, a highly advanced entity, race, or species, the idea of, like, actually traveling through space would be something akin to people of our time and age getting on a horse and delivering a hand letter instead of sending a text message. Meaning, they wouldn't do that. That's a lot of wasted energy. That's just silly. Why wouldn't you just beam your avatar self either across the universe or into another dimension or something like that, right? Like the very idea that they would be getting in ships and flying around all this empty space it seemed to me is like counterintuitive to, like, the level of intellect that we're projecting onto these things. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that would, to me, explain the video problem. You know? When you understand what it takes to survive in space, you will understand what intergalactic beings probably look like, especially if they live in space. Yeah, I don't think they live in space. Why would they live in space? To your point, space is pretty shitty. Why would they do that? You know what I mean? So I don't think they do. At least not all of them. Maybe some of them. But yeah, so we can, so they go to meet the Pentagon and ended up at the Miami Mall. Well, so that's interesting, right? I mean, why would they be at the Miami Mall? That's a great question. Is there something at the Miami Mall that we don't know about? Does Miami exist on one of the what are they, like a ley line of energy? What do they call it in Doctor Strange? There's a word for it in Doctor Strange, but there are actual magnetic fields of energy that have been scientifically proven to exist on the planet, and a lot of major cities exist on the sort of crossroads of some of these magnetic fields. So is there something in Miami that we don't know about? Ley lines, yes. Who knows? Was there some person or a being there at Miami? I don't know. I don't know. Interesting. This might be the nerdiest stream of all time. Oh, I'm sure it's bizarre as hell, but look, we don't have to stay on the alien stuff. I am obsessed with it. I believe in it. I actually, dude, I think yeah. I've been down the rabbit hole, man. I think it's, to me, it all makes sense, man. Got it all figured out. They were there for the BBLs. That could be. Miami does have an abundance of BBLs. So, yeah, maybe they're trying to figure that out, huh? All right. Anything else that, as far as alien stuff, that we should talk about before we get into the actual news? Anything else? How deep do you guys want to go? How down the rabbit hole would you like to travel? Kind of weird that happened the same day LeBron's devil ass was in Miami. I mean, that feels like a stretch, but then again, who knows? You're not going deep enough? Yeah. Nexus, down, all the way down, deeper. Deep. I don't know. I don't know if you guys can handle it. That's the thing. I don't know if you can handle it. You should have alien segments every stream, like a few minutes. Really? Dude, so I really do love the alien stuff. The funny thing to me, though, is like alien to me. Okay, here's where I will take this. I personally believe that the sort of normie, I guess, or like casual understanding of aliens and like the little green men and even the idea of spaceships and them coming from space and like all these different things. I feel like all of that stuff is misdirection. And I feel like it's to give the entities, at least a particular group of them, to basically set them up as something we don't like. So if what I think is happening, then within the next year or within the next couple of years, you will see a lot of institutional power try to vilify the aliens. And some of them. Okay, so and really what I'm talking about is the wrong group. Yeah. Do you think it could be a false flag? Well, the thing that's interesting about the false flag thing, right? Because everybody's like, oh, it's the Epstein list. Oh, they're trying to cover up the Epstein list. And it's like, well, that seems silly to say because the Epstein list is massive, blowing up, huge. It's been trending for 5 days at like 500K tweets a day and shit like that. So It's funny to me that people say, because I know Project Bluebeam is a thing. You know what I mean? Like I'm not ignorant to that or ignorant to the possibility of that. But I just find it interesting that so many people are like, this is so clearly a distraction and a psyop, and yet all evidence would suggest that, like, let's assume, for instance, that what you're saying is true, and that the apparatus that confuses us is so sophisticated that it catches most people. That's what you're saying. It's basically like the devil in some ways. It's so sharp. It's so sophisticated. So let's just assume that's true. Then how do you explain the vast majority of people, including yourself, hyperfixated on one thing and completely discounting the other thing? If it's true, and let's assume it is, then wouldn't the evidence suggest that the thing people are actually paying attention to is the distraction, and the thing that people are discounting is what really matters? I don't know. I mean, to me, that seems obvious. But, there's a lot of human things that get in the way of really facing that reality. I definitely think a lot of these things are connected, but maybe not in the way that many of you do. If it was aliens, what do you think was happening in Miami? Really hard to say. I mean, first of all, like we're talking about probably, in my opinion, several, possibly infinite numbers of different beings, and let's just say for now, maybe forces out there, right? So it's really hard to say, right? It's like, it's not just one group. It's not like, hey, yo, why did the aliens show up at Miami? No, it's more like, why did those entities show up at Miami? And that, I have no idea. But those entities have been reported to be showing up a lot more in general. What that would suggest is that something's happening and something's changing. And I think that regardless of how you slice it, things are changing. This world feels, like maybe it's just like a more personal feeling and a belief that I have. But I feel like so many different things are converging all at once. And I feel like humanity is on the cusp of some massive change. Now, some people think of it in terms of like revelation or the world is ending. I don't feel that way. I feel like we're actually about to enter a golden age, and I feel like ascension is happening here. I feel like something is happening on this planet in this reality that is a big deal. And so it's possible that a lot of beings, entities, or forces would want to be present during something like that. Like, what if it's just the birth of AI? What if it's the birth of the superintelligence that'll like crack this matrix-like simulation that we live in? I'm not, just speculating, but there's a whole bunch of things that it could be, But yeah. So on a scale from 1 to 10, how deep do you think we just went? Did we do good? Is that good enough? Is that deep enough? Are we okay? Are you guys good out there? Everybody about to click off the stream? Don't click off. What do you think about the new Star Wars director? I think the new Star Wars director. Wow, what a 180. What a 180. I think the new Star Wars director is doing exactly what Kathleen Kennedy wanted her to do. I hope that anybody, my hope would be that anybody that's really frustrated with what Charmin is saying, would understand that that is Kathy. So you should not be mad at Charmine for being Charmine. Charmine is who she is. She's an activist. We've said it for years. It's funny to watch like the wider audience realize this, right? Because we were technically talking about this last year when she was brought on. I don't know if you'll recall, but like I remember I was like, yo, like she's literally an activist. Like not in that Twitter way. Like she's like an actual activist, you know? And she absolutely is going to put activism into her film. And Kathy absolutely wants activism in that film. Okay? So my thoughts on Charmine, honestly, is like, I don't really have any ill will towards Charmine. And you know what else? Is like, there's a part of me that's like, man, I just hope that, what if this movie's really good and it's not very overtly political and activism? Do you know what I mean? Like, what if that? And I will tell you, chat, that as crazy as all this alien entity stuff is, it is actually far more likely that the entities exist than Charmine turning in a mass appeal 4-quadrant, not in your face, overt political activist film. So that's the thoughts. That's what we've got. That's what's gonna happen. So buckle up. You know what I mean? And for me, because like look, I mean, obviously, like, I'm not super pumped about that. Like, that is kind of a gut punch, especially because of where Star Wars is and where the Star Wars brand is at and all of that, right? So there's a part of me that's like, yeah, no, man, I'm super fucking bummed about it. But also, I can't, like, we just got to let it happen. Like, we've just got to let it happen and try to forge ahead, you know, as fans. And I don't know what to expect. I really don't. Like, is that movie, like, do you guys think this movie's gonna bomb? Because I almost feel like it can't bomb. Like, that's the other weird thing is, like, they might get a false positive on this movie. Or do you think it's gonna bomb? Like, do you really think this movie's gonna bomb? Yes, it will. But like, okay. Dude, guys, I just can't conceive. I can't conceive of it bombing because it'll be the first Star Wars movie in years. At this point, maybe 8 years. When it finally comes out, when will it have, like, 2019 was Rise, right? It's probably gonna hit 26, so 7 years. 7 years. Okay. Be the first Star Wars movie since Rise. I also think a lot of haters and shit, man. I mean, I'm not trying to be one, but I might end up being one. I think a lot of haters are going to go to see the movie just to tear it apart. You know? I mean, one of the kind of well, I just think it's the case that even a movie like Multiverse of Madness, right? Very controversial. A lot of people didn't like it. And it was a big point of discussion on a lot of different YouTube channels and et cetera, et cetera. But it made almost $1 billion. Like, dude, people showed up to see that movie, right? So the question would be like, do you really see the Rey movie being rejected? Because I could see it being rejected by maybe like a lot of haters, right? A lot of hardcore hate people. But I think a lot of people are gonna check it out. Like, there's built-in interest. Like, a lot of people want to see what it will be, either from the perspective of like, let's see this trash fire, or like, I want to see what's happening with the Rey character, or I just like seeing Star Wars in theaters. Now, what could happen is it could like underperform. That I think is on the table, because if it's bad and if it's really overt, in your face, like super feminist, maybe it would be the case that like the first week I'm gonna be all right, and then you see a massive drop off after that, and then I still think it coasts to like 500 or 600 million. Like, I feel like this movie coasts to 600 million. You know, and the other side of this, right? The other argument is like, a lot of people will say, well, I'm not going to support that. And look, I want to get into the John Wick Star Wars thing, right? So that's actually a beautiful segue into the John Wick Star Wars thing, okay? Because I'm really excited about that possibility. I want to talk about why it's like the antithesis of this Rey thing, right? But I just think even if people, like, let's say Lucasfilm did the total reverse, like, do you think the John Wick Star Wars movie would do like 1.5 billion, 2 billion? Like, do you think it could be that big? Like, just hypothetically. In fact, let's do it like this. Think of your ideal Star Wars fan or movie. The ideal one. The greatest one. The one that feels like it was made just for you. The one that's the perfect movie. The total opposite of the Rey movie. Imagine that movie. Do you think that movie cracks 1.5 or 2 billion? What do you think, Chad? Because I don't. I think the ceiling on Star Wars films are probably 800 million to a billion, and that's like the ceiling. Because I think that the brand is hurt and diminished. And I don't think there is a movie that they could make that would be a smash in the way that a lot of their other stuff would be. So what I mean to say is, like, we're mad about the Rey movie, but I feel like the floor of the Rey movie is like 500-600, and I think the ceiling of the Rey movie is probably close to a billion. And I think, honestly, regardless of what Star Wars movie they made, that's about where it's at. The floor is about 5 to 6. The ceiling is about $1 billion. So when you think of it like that, it's a little bit more like understandable that they would just go with the Rey movie. You know what I mean? Like, legitimately, like, I can't stand it. I've been very vocal about it for a long time. I think it's ridiculous, you know? But let's just, like, call it what it is. Like, so there's some very interesting stuff that's recently come out. The Mandalorian Season 3 was the most watched streaming show in 2023. And it's the lowest viewed season, and Star Wars is in a bad spot and all that sort of stuff. And yet it's the biggest streaming show of 2023. Right? So Star Wars, despite all the damage, despite everything that's gone on with Star Wars, like, it's still sort of living and breathing off of just the gargantuan brand recognition of what Star Wars is. Like, it still has penetrated pop culture to such a degree that, dude, Star Wars shit's gonna be in the top contention probably every year until, like, either they really, really burn it down or sell it off or stop making it. Right? So, like, in my opinion, it's like, look, I definitely am mad about the Rey thing. I'm interested to see how that movie does. I don't think it's going to bomb. I almost think it can't bomb. And maybe that makes it make a little bit more sense as to why they're doing it. I don't know. Thoughts, chat? What do you think about that? Let me get this John Wick thing pulled up. But what do you think about that? Am I crazy, chat? Or are you crazy, chat? I know the answer. It's you, but, you know. All right. So what about Kingpin, Thanos thing? Oh, we're gonna talk about that for sure. We're gonna talk about that. You are crazy, but unrelated. You're crazy. I think it won't bomb. So you're thinking they're going to get hate clicks like a YouTuber? No, not even that. More like there's a larger percentage of people that might be upset and might watch Schadenfreude videos of kind of hating on Star Wars that will still go see it. That's really what I'm saying, is that I think maybe we underestimate the amount of people that, regardless of what they say on social media, are still going to watch Star Wars content. That's what I think. That's what I think. You're crazy. Solo bombed and thought it would have been a hit. That's true, but Solo lost like $80 million. Okay? And if you look at the box office for Disney last year, and you look at the box office for Warner Brothers films for the last, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, they'd probably be pretty happy to have their worst performing movie something like Solo. You know? In fact, I think they'd be happy if some of their best performing movies bombed like Solo. The Marvels bombed about 3 times harder than Solo. 3 times harder. Lost at least 3 times that amount of money. Okay? So, yeah, that's true, but it's also like a little bit of perspective there. Like in a post-pandy world, you know, what are the movies that are still making a ton of money? You know, big recognizable brands. And even Marvel, who had a horrible year last year, I think still has one of the top movies in Guardians and probably one of the highest total grosses out of any studio that was putting movies out there. I do think Universal beat them, but it's not like they're in 30th place. You know what I mean? Disney lost an estimated $1 billion last year. People aren't going to their movies. Yeah, no, they lost, I think, like 1.2. But again, they still grossed more than most other studios. Like, that's just true, right? Like, you can say that Disney is having a horrible time of it right now. You can say that the box office returns have like really dried up and it's like, wow, this is really, really bad. And that's absolutely true. And it's also true that Disney is still better positioned than most other studios, most other companies, and is still holding IP valued higher than most other studios, most other companies, and had more people go to their films last year than most other studios. You know what I mean? That's just what it is. Like, dude, I want them to turn it around and change things, and I want us to get cheering and be excited about these things and all that sort of stuff. But it's not as doomsayer as some of you guys make it out to be. Like, it's bad for sure. But it's, like I said, like, it's just kind of, they're still like the number 2, number 3 game in town. Like, they're still, like, if they were really, like, some of you guys think it's like over. Or it's Jover, right? Throw it into the chat. Throw a 1 into the chat if you think it's Jover for Disney. And I will tell you that this year, you'll be watching and talking about Disney stuff. Next year, you'll be watching and talking about Disney stuff. 3 years from now, you'll be watching and talking about Disney stuff. 4 years from now, you'll be watching and talking about Disney stuff. 5 years from now, I'm not so sure because we'll probably hit the singularity and maybe everything just changes. But the point is, as long as pop culture is a thing and movies are a thing, you will be watching and talking about Disney forever. So it's a meme that it's over. It's a meme that it's over. And it's not true. Like, it's, you know what I'm saying? Like, as hard as I go on them, as much as I want things to turn around, like, it is just not the case that they're in any real danger of disappearing. That's not going to happen. Even if they sell the company, that IP is valuable. The Disney IP is going to continue to be a huge part of pop culture for a long time to come. That's just what it is. And I think a lot of us are like at a point where, look, I just want the shit to get better, right? I'm not, you know, I think you guys know me. I'm not a huge like culture war guy. I really don't care that much one way or the other. I think a lot of that is just noise. But even still, like, I'm frustrated as a you know, viewer, as an audience member, and I want them to like be less overt political, remember to entertain, and you know, just get a little bit back to like escapism and actually like, you know, doing what the fans of certain brands want and be a little bit more in touch. I want all of those things, and I think we will get them. I do. Now the Kathy thing is so interesting to me, man, because dude, this movie is like shaping up. I think it's shaping up to have one of the most horrible, toxic, exhausting conversations as we, lead and go throughout the next couple of years, right? And I don't know how the movie will do. Like I said, I think it'll kind of coast to like 5 or 6, and that could still be considered a failure, by the way. I guess to me, it's just like it feels in certain moments like, dude, how is it possible that they keep doing this? How is it possible that they don't get the message? How have they not realized it? Right? And I think the just straight up answer is they don't see it that way. And I don't think there's enough overt evidence to let them know that it is that way. You know what I mean? So, like, if the Rey movie bombs horribly, and look, I don't know what the movie's going to be like, right? So part of this, we're just speculating here. But, like, if that movie bombs really, really bad, then you would think they would have to make different decisions, move forward in a different way, and maybe not, hire an activist as a filmmaker, right? But I mean, Deborah Chow's not an activist, dude. You know what I mean? Like, Deborah Chow's not an activist. Deborah Chow also did incredible work on The Mandalorian, and the Kenobi show is doo-doo poo-poo horrible bullcrap. Whose fault is that? Well, that's Kathleen Kennedy's fault. Whose fault is it if the Rey movie that's directed by an activist, that was a Lindelof movie, but she couldn't figure it out with him, and it's now a 3 draft in Steve Knight film. If that movie doesn't work, that's Kathleen Kennedy's fault. I'm not even gonna be mad at Charmy, right? And Kathy cannot just keep being president. Like, she just can't be president forever. And if there's enough evidence to sort of suggest to them that maybe they shouldn't be doing this sort of stuff, then I do think they will stop doing it. Right? Now, having said all of that, let me now talk about something that got me pretty excited. And I think it's super cool, guys. So check this out, okay? This came out a couple of days ago, actually. And it's from John Wick director Chad Stahelski. Prefers creating his own films over working with huge franchises, but still wants to take a swing at Star Wars. Oh my good God. Good gravy, Marie. First question to you guys. Do you want this? Yes or no? Like, do you think this would be awesome? Yes or no? Okay. Now, to me, I think this is amazing, and a couple of different reasons why, okay? The John Wick movies, John Wick 4, by the way, my favorite movie of 2023. Incredible movie, and not only is it like a super fun movie that, like, the John Wick franchise has really kind of like found its own, like, very, like, almost comic booky style and vibe and, all these sort of things. But the action, like, I don't know how they just kept making it better. Like, I loved Parabellum, and I was like, I don't know how they're going to top Parabellum. Dude, John Wick 4 is like a masterpiece of action, choreography, all that sort of stuff. Like, mind-blowing, okay? And it was a critical success. It was a financial success. A lot of fans loved it. Very strong franchise. And this dude's stock is, like, on the rise, right? So, like, it used to be the case that that's the kind of person you would grab up, right? You wouldn't go grab a person that's never done a feature-length film before that is an activist documentary director. You wouldn't do that back in the day. You'd grab up, like, somebody that was a name in Hollywood, somebody that was already having momentum in making great movies. And I really think that given where Star Wars is at, a guy like this coming in and bringing what you would expect, which would be incredible action, super fun, really cool worlds. Because think about this, man. The bounty hunter connection is right there and obvious. Okay? So this guy has already been dealing with a world and a universe that is a little Star Wars like. The John Wick dialogue is hyper stylized. It's almost Star Wars like. It's like soap opera. It's like a comic book. It feels larger than life. Just little moments like the concierge like talking about this, that, second, and third. Like it just has a feeling of self-importance and like this grandiose thing that you take seriously. So I think just even from that perspective, it would be brilliant. The bounty hunter stuff, right? The whole idea of going after bounties, of having places of sanctuary, of having orders that the bounty hunters have to follow and all that sort of stuff. I mean, that is perfect for Star Wars. We literally already have that. We had explored that idea in The Mandalorian. So it's something that a lot of Star Wars fans are already familiar with, right? So I think from that perspective, it's a perfect fit. And I think maybe most important of all, this guy is an entertainer. He's an entertainer. He is making movies and doing what movies are supposed to do. Entertain you, present a world, and I think form incredible escapism. So to me, it's kind of funny because he's kind of like the antithesis of Charmin. I mean, number one, he's a male, and he looks white to me, so, you know, toxic male. And then you've got Charmin, that is a woman of color activist, okay? And, you know, more importantly, her career is one of activism. And she didn't have any formal training as a filmmaker. She's said that in interviews. She's not really a cinephile. She's an activist. This dude is a cinephile. This dude is obsessed. This dude is classically trained. This dude has been in actual Hollywood for years. This dude has been leading big budget franchises. This dude is who you want to revitalize Star Wars, to give it a shot in the arm. I think it would be absolutely fantastic. Unfortunately, we don't get shit that we want as Star Wars fans anymore, so this is probably not gonna happen. But I wanted to bring it up, and I wanted to talk about it, and I wanted to lobby for it, because I feel like this dude, like, this is like, man, I love this guy. I love his work, and I would love for this guy to make a Star Wars movie. This would be so damn cool. But alas, probably not going to happen. Thoughts, chat? What do you think? What do you think? I don't care. We all know there's a big chance he won't work well with KK, and it will get canceled anyways. Damn. Too white. That's true. Makes too much sense, bro. That's also true. Yeah, fair. Wait, which chat? Well, I'm on the multi-stream chat. I can see all the chats except for Kick and Twitch and all that. Yeah. Be specific. I'm talking to all the chats. Can he bring Keanu with him? That would be cool. There's rumors that Keanu might be Revan in The Acolyte, which would be exciting. And can you imagine an Old Republic movie with Keanu as Revan, led by the John Wick guy? I mean, boner, dude. I'm sorry. I'm just going to say it. Boner, man. Oh, my God. That would be incredible. That would be really cool, but I mean, look, unfortunately, probably not gonna get it. Kind of lame. Is it a rumor or a wish? No, there's a legitimate rumor for that. Not a lot of people have talked about it, but yeah, it's a. We'll see. That would be cool. KK is there, so no bounce in the Force, so no, it won't happen. Yeah, that kind of makes sense. R-rated Star Wars? No, I don't think it needs to be R-rated. So I didn't mention that like at all when I was talking about it, because I don't think that's Star Wars. That's Andor, right? I mean, that's not Star Wars. But not to say you couldn't have an edge on it, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about entertainment. I'm talking about like action, choreography, like that kind of dope shit. So no, it definitely doesn't have to be R-rated, but it could, like, imagine that choreography with blasters and stuff, and then just less brutal kills. That's all you need. A Jango Fett film? My God, that would be awesome. A Jango Fett movie with that guy at the helm? Woo! That's fire. John Wick Star Wars would be more like Andor, though, I picture. No, it wouldn't, because it would be like Star Wars and not like Andor. We are on the portion of the fan base KK is trying to shit on, so if she knows we want it, then she'll make a concerted effort to prevent it and to do the complete opposite. It does feel that way, right? It does sort of feel that way. Yeah. What a bummer. Imagine if you directed a Mando movie. I'd be down. I would be down. That would be great. There's no place in Star Wars for a toxic male director. At least I can see KK saying that when she sees his comments. That is true. I fuck with Jango Fett, Bounty Hunter game. Cool story. Yeah. Yeah, but she's a boomer and doesn't read the internet. That's true. That's true. Josh, don't tell me you wouldn't watch an R-rated Boba Fett movie. I would watch an R-rated Boba Fett movie because I'm an easy mark. But I have to tell you, in my heart of hearts, I believe Star Wars is a certain thing. And I think adult, violent, sexual, those are not the thing. That's not Star Wars. Star Wars is for 12-year-olds, man. George said it himself. Like, it's for 12-year-olds. It's for 12-year-olds, and it's also for the 12-year-olds in all of us. It's like shonen. It's supposed to be for young people. Reverend Al Sharpton will direct the Mando movie. I wish him well. I wish him well. Oh no! Apparently Rosario Dawson says there's no talks for season 2. That's not true. Maybe nobody's talking to her, but there's talks. There's talks. Okay, should we get into the Daredevil stuff, ladies and gentlemen? Anything else we want to talk about with Star Wars? Wait, what? Is this Arcane season 2? The trailer? If I look at... I'm going to get dinged up on this, aren't I? Ooh, it looks really cool. It's just a teaser, though. We're not going to react to it, but damn. Looks cool. In November. Whoo! Arcane Season 2 in November. Let's go, baby! I love Arcane, man. Arcane's such a good show. Such a good show. My 12-year-old self needs Kathleen Kennedy to leave ASAP. Me too. Me too. Me too. Yeah, Arcane is great, man. Let's go. Yeah. John Wick directed for an Ewok movie. That would be kind of lit, dude. And you could push the envelope with that. I wouldn't mind a little bit of a hard edge on an Ewok movie. Wouldn't that be cool? Turn the Ewoks into like actually horrific, horrible, frightening things. Crazy. Okay, let's shift into the Daredevil stuff, guys. Now, this is tough because some of this is quite spoilery. Okay, now it's rumors. Let's be real. It's rumors, okay? We don't know for sure. And also, this is coming from Daniel RPK, who kind of has a checkered history with leaks recently. I mean, literally said that Stephen Yeun looked great in the suit like about 12 hours before it came out that he walked away from the project, which did not happen that quickly. So Daniel doesn't know everything, right? And he's been wrong, wrong a lot recently. I mean, I'm honestly at the point where I'm like, should we even listen to Daniel? Like, real talk. Should we even listen to him? But for now, let's keep listening to him, okay? And he gave an update on the Daredevil show, okay? Now, one of the things that he said about the Daredevil show I think is pretty awesome and pretty interesting. One of the things I really don't like, one of the things I'm like, you know, but again, it's like, this is Daniel, so he's like a bit of a troll, so it's like hard to know, is he even reporting this accurately? You know what I mean? But let me see if I can pull this up. Yeah. So the big thing with Daredevil Born Again, I'll pull this up for you guys. This is pretty cool. Muse is reportedly the main villain of Daredevil Born Again. Now, this is really interesting, okay? So, apparently this was always the case. I don't really remember any reports about this, but Muse is apparently going to be the villain of the Daredevil Born Again show. And one of the things that was really interesting about this character, and when you combine it with some of the stuff they've been saying about Echo and Daredevil Born Again, it's quite interesting because Muse is like brutal. Okay, now this is obviously not a well-known Marvel character. Okay, this isn't like an A-lister in any way, shape, or form, but an interesting character nonetheless. And he is a character that makes art with people's bodies. Okay, so he's like a really sick and twisted villain that like paints with people's blood and uses people's bodies for art. Super graphic body horror type shit. Okay. And one of the reasons this is so cool is because they basically came up with the Marvel Spotlight banner and the idea when they were in post-production on Echo. And we're actually, in a second here, I want to watch this interview with Brad Winderbaum, who I'm actually really liking this Brad Winderbaum guy, man. To me, kind of came out of nowhere. Not a name I had heard a lot. As far as like Feige's lieutenants, you always hear like Esposito. Used to hear about what's her face that got fired, and then Nate Moore, and I think there's another one that I heard a lot of, but I hadn't really heard a lot of Brad Winderbaum. Dude, I watched a couple of interviews with Brad Winderbaum. Seems like a cool dude, man. I kind of like this guy. I like the energy he's bringing to Marvel. And like I said, I still think there's a lot of different ways that they can turn this around. But one of the things he said that was really interesting was that the idea of Marvel Spotlight was literally created when they were doing post on Echo. Now, I personally think that means when they were trying to fix the Echo show. Because the Echo show, man, this was like, this show has been tinkered with a lot. Now, that's pretty standard for Marvel. Marvel tinkers, that's kind of what they do. A lot of rewrites, reshoots, and that's what they do, right? But I found it interesting that Brad Winderbaum was talking about discovering the Spotlight while trying to fix Echo. Another really interesting element here was that there was an interview with Vincent D'Onofrio where he had suggested that it was when they were doing Echo that they realized that the Kingpin character works much better with a very hard edge and a very dark tone. He said that in an interview. Now, to me, you put all of that together because remember, there are older interviews with Vincent D'Onofrio where he had suggested that the Daredevil Born Again show was going to be very different than the Netflix show. Do you guys remember that? He's on the record saying it. I think he had done multiple interviews where he kind of gave this answer. They're trying something very different, I think was the way he phrased it. Now, we know that they are remaking the Daredevil show. That's a part of what we're even talking about right now is because this show was supposed to be coming out this year. They literally fired all the writers, fired all the directors. They took a huge break, and they're remaking the show. This came out in one of the articles in the trades, and Kevin Feige had said that, or rather it was reported that when Kevin Feige looked over the episodes of Daredevil, they were so bad, he just knew they had to take a big step back and completely rework it. Okay? So you start to put all of what we just talked about together in a timeline, and what it seems like to me is they're forging ahead on Echo, they're working on Daredevil, right? And they're doing all of this stuff, and the dailies are coming back just a little underwhelming for both Echo and for Daredevil. I mean, from what I've heard, the Echo show, rather, a disastrous production that took a lot of tinkering, right? But regardless, the point is, and what's important to keep in mind, is that it seems like one of the solutions to this was put a hard edge on it and make it more violent. I think some of the violence you're about to see in the Echo show was done in post. I think that was done in post, and I think they made it a lot like edgier and darker and more hardcore. But I think maybe one of the things they found was that all of these characters seem to work a little bit better with a much darker, more mature, R-rated, violent tone. And that is, I think, why D'Onofrio said that. So what we're really saying here is that Echo was, let's say, fixed, right? Because we haven't seen Echo. We don't know. I have my doubts that it'll be very good. But I think regardless, it's probably way better now than it was before. And I think part of that had to do with the dark, mature nature. Now, you take all of what I just said, you add it into a villain like this, and it kind of low-key feels like we're cooking with gas. This feels like it could be really dark, really hardcore, and really interesting, okay? I also feel like this whole, the Daredevil show's canon now, and they're using Daredevil footage to try to push Echo. I feel like that is a change as well. I feel like a year and a half ago, if you would have asked Feige about Daredevil, he would not have given you a straight answer. He would not have really wanted to have it closely tied to that other stuff. And I think that has changed. And I think now Marvel is embracing it because it's beloved Marvel material with a pre-established tone that I think they're more closely going to match moving forward. So kind of some interesting changes happening behind the scenes with the Daredevil show. And I think getting this villain confirmed here is fascinating. And I think it's going to be super dark, really bloody, really interesting, and a great way to bring Matt Murdock out of retirement. And that is where the report gets a little bit weird because according to Daniel, a lot of what was in the script is still going to be there. So this is a little bit of spoilers. Just check out for a couple of minutes if you don't want to know what I'm talking about here. But so, for instance, according to Daniel, no Foggy and no Karen. So they're not changing that aspect of it. And in fact, Daniel mentions that Daredevil is still going to be retired. Now, in the original version of the Daredevil show, and I know some people that actually read the script that told me, some things, right? Daredevil is going to retire because of what happened to basically Foggy. I think Karen, I don't know if it was Foggy and Karen. Like at one point I heard it was Foggy and Karen, and this was why Punisher was going to get involved because Punisher had a thing with Karen, and now he's really pissed because they killed Karen or whatever, right? But both those characters killed connected to Daredevil, meaning because they're associated with Daredevil, they got killed. So Daredevil then retires. Now, in the original version of the show, he was going to be retired for 4 episodes. He wasn't going to put the suit on for 4 episodes. And was just going to be retired lawyer Matt Murdock, who's sad boy, depressed because his best friends and some of our favorite characters from the Netflix shows are dead, right? Unfortunately, Daniel is reporting that that's still the case. Now, what I think is probably happening is they've just shortened the duration from retired Daredevil into suiting up Daredevil. So they're probably just going to get to it a little bit quicker and make it a lot darker, maybe introduce Muse a little bit earlier on in the show. And it's like this, man. Am I happy that there's no Foggy? Absolutely not. Am I happy that there's no Karen? I mean, I'm kind of indifferent. I don't really like Karen Page. But I am upset that there's no Foggy. I don't love the idea of fridging characters to force retired, trauma type character arcs on modern day superheroes. Just, I don't like it that much. But at the same time, there are ingredients here that could end up coming together for a pretty spicy dish. Like, this could feel really good. And I'm just really hoping that maybe the Echo process and the transformation of Echo has led to a place where the now Daredevil Born Again is going to be dark and very gritty, full of violence. full of a bunch of badass fighting and awesome characters. And if that's really the case, man, that would be fantastic. And so that's kind of the report, and also the Muse character, fascinating character, and I think maybe an ideal character to be using in the sort of story that they are kind of cooking up, allegedly, for the Daredevil show. So would love to know your thoughts on that a little bit, chat, and then I want to pull up this interview with Brad Winderbaum. I want to watch the whole thing. It's only like 4 minutes, and man, I gotta tell you again, I like this dude, man. I like this dude, you know? He might not like me after he hears some of the things that I said, you know, about the aliens and whatnot, but I like this guy. I'm rooting for this guy, and I'm also, by the way, rooting for Echo. Part of me is like, I really don't think Echo's going to be good, but maybe it'll be like, and have a lot of violence, and maybe that's okay. So, I don't know. What do you think, chat? What do you think about the Daredevil stuff? What do you think? What do you think about it? I hear a baby boy out there getting grumpy. What's this boy being grumpy for? Anyway, he's mad about no Foggy, I bet, you know? What if Echo gets received amazing? Then kudos, man. Congratulations. Pat ourselves on the back. Fanjecture on Twitch says, Arcane Season 2 trailer. I saw it. It's only like a little teaser, though. It's like 40 seconds of like the homie still alive, basically, right? But I appreciate it. It's hilarious that it took them almost ruining a show for them to realize that the Netflix people already knew. Yeah, that is a fair point. Now MTTS says Magneto isn't in Deadpool 3. What the fuck? I know, bro. So now we might not get Magneto in Deadpool 3. And you know what? I'm going to blame My Time to Shine on that. I don't know how exactly, but it's her fault that we're not going to get Magneto. So. Hey, Sean, that's dope, man. Much love, brother. Much love. I still haven't gotten past the first episode of Arcane. What? I will tell you this, Trev. For the love of God, give it another episode. Just watch 2 episodes. Because, like, it's really good, bro. Like, bruh. Me either? What? You know what this reminds me of? And maybe my wife will get mad when she hears this, but this is what this reminds me of. So currently, Elisa is like super into anime. Like, she's like more into anime than me. She has literally watched more anime in the past year and a half than I have in like all my years of watching anime. Like, she's obsessed. But about a year before she started watching anime, I tried to get her into anime. And I know what she likes and, you know, her kind of sensibilities and everything like that. And so I was like, you know what's going to be the perfect anime for her? Death Note. Okay? And we watched the first episode of Death Note. And she was like, I can't. I don't like it. I don't want to watch it. And I was like, but you have to watch the second episode. You have to watch the second episode. I was doing everything I could. I was like, no. Like, I understand everything you're saying, but you have to watch the second episode. And she just wouldn't. Okay? So then a year later, after she actually gets into anime, I was like, well, I think we got to watch Death Note. So we sit down and we watch Death Note. We watch the second episode, and she says, she literally dead ass turns to me and says, why didn't you just convince me to watch the second episode? I would have totally understood the whole thing if you just got... And I was like, dude, I tried to get you to watch the second episode. You were not having it. There was no way, shape, or form that you were going to watch that second episode. So, Trev, the point is, watch the second episode. Holy shit. Okay. Yeah. Watch the second episode, bro. Okay, so yeah, look, some people are saying don't kill off Foggy. Yeah, I mean, I don't like that either. You know, I really don't. But I think more than I want Foggy to be in the show, I want the show to be good. Is that fair, Chen? Like, is that fair? Like, I'll say it again. More than my desire to have Foggy in the show is my desire to have a good show. I just need the Daredevil show to be dope. Like, I just want to have a dope Daredevil show. And Daredevil's a huge part of what they're trying to do. And Wilson Fisk is a huge part of what they're trying to do. And that is maybe the perfect segue into this. So let's pause this. Let's turn this up. Let's watch this interview here. What happened to Thanos? Oh, God, so loud.
To enjoy this show.
Yo, let me tell you, Echo is phenomenal. Like, I love stories like Ozark, Sons of Anarchy, and this is like the MCU version of that, and I absolutely love it.
Thank you so much for saying that.
Has the Marvel Spotlight, has that been thought of for a while prior to Hawkeye? Or
now, look, I want to get into what he says here because it's really interesting, but there is this weird thing where, like, some people really like Echo, and, like, I don't think this dude's, like, lying per se, but I'm going to be really interested to see how the reviews are for Echo, because it's not just Joe, right? I'm not trying to like dogpile on him specifically, but like a lot of influencers and people in the space have been like pre-defending Echo and like talking about how it's going to be amazing and all these sort of things, right? So yeah, it's just going to be really interesting. Is this going to be another one of those situations of like, hey, everybody was really nice in the interviews and at the premiere, and then gave that shit like a horrible Rotten Tomato review? Because that's kind of been happening for Marvel. Or is this really the case of like, hey, man, this show's not bad, and for certain people, it's really good, and they really enjoyed it? I'm not really sure. I'm going to give Echo a fair shot, okay? But I'm currently at a place where, like, bro, like, I'm on a little bit of a Marvel detox. I still haven't finished What If. I can't really bring myself to finish it. And I'm still loving Marvel, but I'm like more focused on like Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, Avengers, and all the stuff that I think's coming. I'm like not as concerned about like Echo or What If, right? But I'm gonna give What If a fair shot, and I'd love to love the show.
How did you guys make that decision to focus on Marvel Spotlight?
Marvel Spotlight was something that we came up with in post-production on Echo. It's interesting, having been a film producer.
So this is what I was talking to you guys before. They literally came up with the idea of Marvel Spotlight while doing post on Echo, which I think is code for like, we're trying to fix Echo, you know?
And a television producer, learning sometimes the hard way, the difference between the two mediums. Right. You know, a film is like a statement. But a show is like a conversation. Sure. And it's a conversation with multiple writers in the room. It's a conversation with your directors, the ensemble cast. It's longer. It takes place over a longer period of time. And ultimately, it's a conversation with the culture. Sure. So as part of the cultural conversation, it was important for this show to set expectations in a way that told the audience or conveyed that you don't need to know what happened to Thanos to enjoy this show. You can. Sure. You can. And she lives and breathes in the same world, but you don't have to.
Sure.
And we wanted as many people to experience this show as possible. So anyone who's a casual fan or doesn't know any of the other stuff could jump in blind and enjoy it on its own terms.
You know, speaking of that. So
I like the answer, but really it's a controlled answer. The back half of the answer has nothing to do with the first half of the answer. What's important is that when asked about the Spotlight thing, he said, no, that's something we came up with while doing posts for Echo. And then he goes to kind of talk about like the show and movie difference. And I think that's totally fair. It doesn't really address the question. And then he's talking about not needing to know who Thanos is. Again, not really answering the question.
Thanos, it feels like Wilson Fisk is kind of like the Thanos of this street level corner of the MCU. Is that the case going forward? Is he kind of like what we're building towards?
Oh man, you kind of hit the nail on the head. I can't say too much, only that that as a chapter in Wilson Fisk's life, this is a crucial one, and sets the stage in some remarkable ways for what's coming next.
Yeah, so that's actually super key, right? The interesting thing about this interview is like his deflection of the first question led to an incredible second question that kind of puts him on the spot and gets an admittance here. So he's like, well, speaking of Thanos, it kind of feels like you're building up Wilson Fisk as the Thanos of the street level or this side of Marvel, right? And you can even see And I liked, and this is why I kind of like the dude. I like the answer because he was so authentically struck by how on the nose and spot on that question was. And you can tell there's an excitement in what they're planning and what they're trying to do. Right? So I think that's pretty cool. And of course, look, by the way, I actually have a big video that's going to break all this down. I'm hoping to get that out over the weekend for you guys. I've been really slacking on videos. I'm just kind of still rolling into 2024, man. You know, I'm kind of rolling in slow. But got an Avengers video, got a video about Kingpin and Thanos and the street level stuff as well, Civil War and all that. There's a lot of cool stuff going on. If they can nail the Daredevil show, because I don't know about Echo, right? But I know that Echo's going to come and go in a day, and I know they've learned lessons on Echo, and I know that they won't it's not like Echo was a complete total waste of time, even if it ends up being not a great show. Now Daredevil is so high profile and important that they've stopped it and they've remade the show. Seems like a lot of stuff from the past is intact. Mostly, I think that show's going to focus on the mayoral run and the candidacy of Wilson Fisk becoming the mayor, right, of New York, which will lead to a dark reign, outlawing of vigilantes, a lot of really interesting stuff, a kind of Civil War Part 2, really, really cool stuff. But I don't know if there's a better person, a better actor, character combination. I don't know if there's a better one than Vincent D'Onofrio as Wilson Fisk to do some heavy lifting for Marvel over the next couple of years. Real talk. We talk a lot about things we don't like at Marvel. We talk a lot about casting decisions we're not thrilled with, characters being put into stuff that we don't think belong. We're very quick to be critical, and I think that's fair because we're fans. But I think we also have to give credit where credit is due. Bro, they got something special with Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin. They truly have something special. High caliber actor that takes the role very seriously, iconic in the role, iconic in the comic books, a beautiful combination. So, dude, this is kind of dope. In the midst of all the sky is falling, oh shit kind of stuff, Kingpin himself having this role and being this big of a deal in Marvel moving forward is dope. So let's just keep going here.
Can you talk about working with the Choctaw Nation to kind of bring this authenticity to Maya?
Yeah, I mean, they were partners since the beginning. Sid, our director and executive producer, went to Oklahoma and pitched the show, and always had a very talk about a conversational approach. Sure. That's always been Sid's vibe. She's one of the most collaborative filmmakers I've ever worked with, and I think certainly that was the case with her interactions with Choctaw Nation, and they were part of the DNA of the show from the beginning. It's I would say sometimes consultants kind of are a layer on top. This was it's all braided together.
Right. In that first episode, we see this amazing fight scene with Daredevil and Maya. It is absolutely incredible. Now, I have a question about Daredevil. Is everything that happened on the Netflix series a part of the sacred timeline, or is it not?
So I can say that we've been up until this point, we've been a little bit cagey about what's sacred timeline, what's not.
No, I think this is fair. And another reason, he's kind of straightforward here, at least as much as he can be. And he's indicating a change. I don't know if you guys can notice, but they've changed. This is a change.
Not sacred timeline. That was born of, frankly, a period at the studio where we were we have to stick the landing with Avengers. Sure. It was another part of the company developing the Netflix stuff. We were aware of what they were doing. They were aware of what we were doing, but it was a lot. It was a lot to balance anyway. But now that some time has passed, now that we see how well integrated the stories are, I think that I personally, Brad Winderbaum, would be confident in saying it is part of the sacred time.
Well, Brad, amazing, man. Look, Echo hits on every level. Like I said, this is the intimate MCU story that I wanted, and it hits perfectly. Thanks so much, Brad.
Thanks, bro.
Cool. I hope it's good. That's kind of interesting. And again, when you add this into some of the stuff that like D'Onofrio's been saying in interviews, and then Brandon Davis actually had a couple of good interviews where he kind of pinned Brad down on finding out who bought Avengers Tower. Some speculation that could also be Wilson Fisk. Very, very interesting stuff. So I don't know, man. I mean, we're like 4 days away from Echo. I'm going to give it a shot. Hopefully it's decent. Hopefully it's not like just this horrible conversation online and we're all really upset about it. And even if it is, it's only going to last for like a week or something like that because they dropped it all at once. So there you have it. A little bit of hype for the Echo show. What do you think? What do you think, Chad? What do you think? Baller move to go with the classic watch and not a smartwatch? What? Wilson Fisk bought Avengers Tower confirmed. It's not been confirmed. There's a lot. I think the one thing they confirmed was that you will discover who bought it by the end of the season. Echo, I believe. By the end of the Echo show. You'll find out who bought Avengers Tower. I speculate that on that more in the video, which should be dropping relatively soon for you guys. Yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? Should we just... I couldn't care less about the MCU real estate. God damn it, Adam! It's not about real estate! It's about this iconic fixture in Marvel Comics, Avengers Tower? Come on, man! You freaking curmudgeon? Come on, man. M rating means no holding back. Yeah, no, it's free real estate, 100%, yeah. I like that more than Mephisto. I do too. What if it's Mephisto and Kingpin, though? What if they're working together? I want the real estate market bubble to bust, even if the tower goes down with it. Damn. There you go. So are all the Netflix shows canon now or just Daredevil? I don't know. I guess you have to ask more specifically. Girl that plays Echo went to college with some people I went to high school with. That's cool. Josh, look up the free real estate. It's funny. No, I know the meme. It's free real estate. What if it's just some Schmo Joe and it's owned by like a chef or something? That would kind of be horrible. So Iron Fist is canon? No! Oh, shit. The Rebel Moon pitch meeting. Should we do it, guys? Oh, God. Oh, God. Here we go. All right, here we go. Let me take my medicine. Here we go.
So, you have a movie for me?
Yes, sir, I do. You know it, sir.
Amazing.
No, I mean, you know it, sir. This movie's mostly comprised of scenes from popular movies you're definitely familiar with.
Oh, well, if those movies are popular,
That should translate into this one being popular as well. If my calculations are correct, that's exactly right.
Sick.
So we're gonna start the movie with some big old lady space parts.
What was that?
And a big ship flies through the lady parts.
Traveling through space privates is tight.
And there are some bad guys heading to this moon called Velt, where the main character, Korra, is doing some slow-mo farming.
The farming is slow-mo?
Yeah, everything's slow-mo, sir. That's the secret to making movies feature-length.
What about, like, story or character development?
No, it's the slow-mo. That's how you get the runtime.
Oh, good to know.
So anyway, this big bad guy, Admiral Noble, goes up to the leader of this farming village and does a slightly altered version of that opening scene from Inglourious Bastards.
Great scene.
Great scene. Yeah, he's got a
Great
Nazi
scene.
uniform and everything.
Why disguise it? It's good as is.
And he says he's gonna force this whole town to grow him a bunch of grain so he can feed his troops.
This big bad guy's doing crop negotiations?
Yeah, okay, and then he leaves a bunch of soldiers behind to oversee this whole thing.
Okay.
But then these soldiers are about to take advantage of this local girl, so Korra reveals she's secretly been a badass this whole time and kills them all.
Oh boy.
Yeah, and there's this
boy.
robot that was with the bad guys, but he helps her out, and he's actually a good robot now, and he's got an amazing voice.
Interesting. I want to hear more about this robot.
Well, too bad he runs away and doesn't return till the end of the
That
movie.
is
Oh,
true.
dang it. So now the whole town is like, oh, very cool. Korra's good at punching.
Sure sounds that way.
So she's like, well, the only way to stop this bad guy and his giant planet-destroying ship is for me to go recruit a couple of reluctant warriors.
That makes sense.
It does, yeah. So her and this guy Gunner go do an alternate version of the cantina scene from A New Hope.
Great scene.
Great scene.
Great
They meet
scene.
an alternate version of Han Solo named Kai, who's gonna help them out for money.
Star Wars is a great movie. I'm glad we're doing it again.
Yeah.
So then what do?
Well, this guy takes them on an alternate Millennium Falcon to go recruit their first warrior dude, Tarek.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, but he's currently a slave, so the slave owner is like, I tell you what, if he can tame this wild beast, you can have him, but if he can't, I get to keep you as slaves.
Why would they agree to that?
So they agree to that.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, because see, they were told that this guy is a beast
true.
tamer, so
It's
they,
true.
risk everything on that.
Well, okay then.
So then this guy's gonna do an alternate version of that hippogriff scene from Harry Potter.
Great scene.
Great scene.
Great
and then
scene.
Buckbeak kills the slave owner and they take off.
Very exciting.
So on the next planet, they meet this other warrior, Nemesis, who has an alternate version of lightsabers.
Great weapons.
Great weapons. And so then
Great
she
weapons.
kills this big spider lady, and they all take off to the next planet.
Wait, did they even ask her to join?
I mean, probably off screen or something. I don't know.
All right.
So then
That's
they go
actually a
recruit the
great
next
point.
person.
No.
So just to be sure,
This is like a montage you're describing, right?
Oh, no. This is the movie.
Are you sure? Because this just sounds like that one scene in every heist movie where they like get the team together.
Yeah, but with slow motion, we will meet our runtime target.
Okay.
So they go see this General Titus guy who is dirty, but then showers and joins them.
So is it going to be like fun banter between all the members of this growing team?
No.
Oh.
Yeah, no, once you're on the team, you stand quietly in the background as others are recruited.
Gotcha.
So next they go recruit this guy, Darian Bloodaxe, and
Yep.
he has a sister, and they both run a rebellion or something.
So he joins?
He joins, and he brings a couple of people with him, and now it's time for the final fight.
Wait, do we like learn stuff about people?
Oh, yeah, we'll see. At a certain point, Cora's gonna tell her entire story to Gunner. See, it turns out she was like raised by the space Nazis, and she was one of their top people, but now she's good. She's not in them with them anymore.
What inspires her to share that?
Well, she tells him, I am telling you this so that you know my story.
Subtle.
So then that Kai guy is like, hey, you silent
Subtle.
people who have each individually displayed one skill have inspired me to become good.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but then turns out he's not good, he's bad, and he betrays them and sells them out to the Empire or whatever alternate name I come up with.
Oh, no.
So the bad guys trap the good guys in these mechanism things, and Kai tells Gunner to paralyze Cora.
What do you
Yeah.
mean?
Well, there's like this little gun thing, right? And if you put it in a hole, it shoots right into the person's neck.
Uh-oh. Well, it's going to be tough for him to get out of that situation if they're all surrounded by bad guys. Actually, it's going to be super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really? Yeah, because see, another thing about this mechanism is that if you turn this gun the opposite way, it releases the prisoner, and then you could kind of use it as a weapon. So he frees Cora and
Yeah, it's one of the worst parts of the movie. And also, it just doesn't even make sense. Like, why would he, like, if anything, the Nazi dude should have been the one to make him do this. Like, it just felt like such a leap that the Kai character would be, like, I can understand him being like the pilot that's just looking for payment, but then he's like so sadistic, he wants to take this dude to kill the person he's obviously like simping for. It felt like such a crazy fucking leap. I was like, God damn it. So
kills Kai.
Why would they design that thing that way?
So then one by one, they free all the good guys and get into a big fight.
Were they surrounded by bad guys with guns pointing at them?
Yeah, but see, none of them can aim because they're kind of like alternate stormtroopers, I guess.
Great bad guys.
Great bad guys. And then there's this big old fight, and freaking Darian, he dies.
Oh no, Darren! Which one? Who was that?
One of them.
Oh no!
And then Cora gets into a big fight with Noble and manages to kill him.
Well, good for her.
Except the bad guys bring him back to life, so he's gonna be back for part 2. Don't you worry about that.
one of the worst, this small thing really bugged me a lot. She knocks his teeth out in the big fight. And then in the very next scene, they're like doing close-ups on his teeth. And I was just like, what?
That's a good cliffhanger. Are they going to be able to defeat this guy they've killed once already?
So then all the good guys go back to that moon, and that robot has antlers now.
Cool. And so that's it for part 1. What do you think?
It sounds like some content for sure. I just wonder if there's a way to capitalize on this a bit more. Well, this is gonna be Zack Snyder, and you know what his fans like.
Snyder cuts?
Yeah, let's purposefully release a non-Snyder cut first.
Very sneaky. I love it. Let's hack this version to bits.
It is still kind of interesting, man. Like, why? I still don't fully understand the Rebel Moon thing, and what I mean by that is that's not that's not a great Zack Snyder movie. And I thought maybe you had to have a great movie as the first intro for a franchise to be successful. So like I'm confused by like the logic. And look, I'm willing to accept that Zach knows more about this than I do. And maybe the second one and then the actual director's cuts, I mean, maybe it'll work. And maybe people will love Rebel Moon in the future and stuff. You know, I will say to the movie's credit, it is getting a pretty good amount of views. Not like crazy, but like pretty good. And I think I might watch it again, to be honest. Like, it's not a good movie, but it might be one of my favorite bad movies. And I might like watch it again and again. And I'm definitely going to watch part 2. And I'm definitely going to watch all the director's cuts. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. What do you think? What do you think, chat? Maybe you don't need a good first movie in the intro of a new franchise. Maybe you just don't. I mean, if you look at a lot of these franchises, maybe you don't. Bro forcing himself to like it. I think if I watch it like 5 more times, I might like it. So, yeah, maybe I'll get there. Okay, is there anything else that we should be going over before we get into the Q&A? We're going to get into the Q&A and then we got to get out of here. No call-ins today. I will say this, though. Holy shit. A new picture of one of the aliens. Holy shit. You guys want to take a small little side break here and see one of these aerial shots of one of the entities? I know Aaliyah's probably really excited too. That's weird. That is quite strange. I mean, what does that look like for you, to you guys? Could just be a normal person that was running, I guess, getting caught. But where are the other people, I guess? I don't know. That's weird. KK's true form? Oh, fuck, bro. Oh, shit, bro. I hope not, bro. Oh, fuck, bro. Okay. Okay. All right, let's just get into Q&A. But here's what I want to say to you guys, okay? Tuesday night, we are going to have another longer Nerdvengers stream. And I'm going to do call-ins Tuesday. We were supposed to do it this week, but I kind of forgot about that. We're going to do it next week. But I do want most of the questions or the conversation to center around the Jack Kirby Stan Lee debate, okay? This is something new we're doing in 2024. We're trying to kind of like level up our nerd street cred and like the knowledge base that we have. And we watched a documentary on Jack Kirby on Tuesday. And I would suggest that you guys go out and watch a bunch of stuff with Stan Kirby, with Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. And on Tuesday, I want to have a bunch of call-ins where we sort of talk about that. We can talk about whatever you want, for sure. But I would really like to keep the conversation around the Jack Kirby Stan Lee thing. Like, is there something interesting you found? Was there an interesting interview? Was there an interesting like documentary, a book? You know, I'm doing some deep research. And so I'm going to bring some stuff up, but I'd love for you guys to bring some stuff up as well. Echo Watch Party? Nah, man, I'm not going to do an Echo Watch Party. It all drops at once, and I'm damn sure not doing all of them. So, no. Stan Kirby isn't real. He can't hurt you. Oh, Jesus. Okay, so, yeah, so that's when we'll do call-ins, okay? I don't think there's anything else that I wanted to bring up. So let's just get into the Qs and the A's over here. You know what I mean? Let's just get into the Qs and the A's. First question in today, and it doesn't show me who this is. Hang on, let me see. Who is this? Oh, it's Philip Hatch. Okay, Philip Hatch says, have you heard about Stephen Hawking in the Epstein documents? Yeah, no, I did. Did you guys hear about that? Because the memes have been fantastic. You know, the Stephen Hawking memes of the Jeffrey Epstein stuff have been unbelievable. Yeah. Not sure how to feel about it. You know, if I look too hardly at what's really going on and the feelings being expressed and shared, I might get a little sad. So instead, we'll keep it light and just be like, damn, that is kind of funny. Ha 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 ha. What would he do? Leon says with a $5 holiday, you have an unnatural allegiance to losers is not like you. God tier line. I've always loved Cap, but after this interview, it just increased. Yeah, for sure. I've seen some Wildcat Williams interviews from back in the day, but this one was something special. And that's what I mean, though. Some of y'all got to take some of those interviews clips and put them into some Kang shit, bro. Like, come on, man. That would be so cool. Okay, Prez says, emergency Diamond Lounge stream because of the aliens. Not this week. Maybe we'll do one next week or maybe the following week. We'll do a Diamond Lounge in January for sure. But the last Diamond Lounge, we went deep. I'm pretty sure it was either the last Diamond Lounge or the one before. We went really deep on like the alien entity kind of shit like that. So it was pretty wild. Okay, Jonas28 says, Thought Sauce stream on aliens, please. Bro, I would love to. Like, I really would. Like, I would go there. But it is a little bit of like crossing the streams because like, you know, some of you guys are really interested in this and that's obvious, but some of you aren't, you know, and I was like kind of joking with Aaliyah, but she's just clearly like not into it and she's not here for that. She's here for pop culture stuff and that's what we've been doing for years. So I can't really blame her. You know, so I'm not going to hop into the alien space anytime soon. You know what I mean? I will talk about it. I'll address whatever questions you have. I did hit up Christian Harloff, and this was, man, I want to say it was like 6 months ago. So Harloff's been covering the alien stuff on Tuesdays. And I was like, bro, I want to get on the pod with the alien shit. And unfortunately, he told me that he's not doing a lot of like Skyping in. He wants to do a lot of stuff just in person. So we're not going to get together on that. So and I was like, it's a little bit of a bummer because I would have loved to dive deep on that alien shit. But you know, maybe I guess if I'm ever out his way, we could do that. But yeah. Rhett Proctor with a 10 spot says, I am so down with Daredevil and the Defenders saga being canon in the MCU. If that's the case, then I want to see Jessica Jones and Kate Bishop team up. Who you got against Ben Poindexter Bullseye? Who go up against... Yeah, I really like the Bullseye that they had in that show. I thought it was excellent. So that would be really cool. And yeah, Jessica Jones, Kate Bishop, that would be a good team together. I like Jessica Jones a lot. That first season of Jessica Jones is one of the best seasons of superhero television I've ever seen. Very, very good. So yeah, no, that would be great, man. I don't know how much Jessica Jones you're actually going to get. I've been hearing a lot of conflicting things. Like at one time, Jessica Jones was going to be the MacGuffin of like the Echo show or of the Daredevil show. I can't remember. But they were like looking for her because of like maybe Kilgrave's powers or the children of Kilgrave. And so it's also possible that like, because I haven't heard anything like that recently, but I think at one time they were thinking about doing Kilgrave or the Kilgrave children as a way to like explain how Wilson Fisk is becoming the mayor, which would be really cool. That would be dope. Okay, Mike Wells says, I'm an alien from Long Island. Well, welcome. Welcome into the tower, brother. Make yourself comfortable. We're all aliens here. Brad Morris says, the video of three dudes with braids is fake. He made a second TikTok saying he's never been to Miami. I still believe it's aliens, though. Yeah, well, that's the other thing that's kind of interesting is there are a lot of hoaxes and fake things that happen. Like, that's just what happens, right? Now, some of that is just people clout chasing and trying to, get clicks and stuff like that. I feel like some of it's organized, though. You know what I mean? So, Brandon D says, start the movement, cancel Thunderbolts, and bring Sentry into World War Hulk to fight Hulk till somebody wins. It would be so cool. I would love that, bro. I would absolutely love that. Sentry versus Hulk would be fantastic. You know, one of the things I can't quite wrap my head around, I've been kind of thinking about this, so maybe some of you guys have a theory on this. I can't quite figure out how World War Hulk is going to tie into everything else that they seem to be building towards. Like, it seems like they're building towards, like, Fisk and Thunderbolt Ross and, like, Dark Avengers and, you know, like, a lot of conflict like that. Then what the fuck happens? Like, Bruce just snaps and takes over the world? Because that's, like, out of left field. You know, like, I'm not saying it wouldn't be cool, but I just don't understand. And maybe we got to see, Captain America 4 before we understand this. But, like, I don't understand how World War Hulk becomes, like, the culmination thing. Using Hulk blood as super soldier. Yeah, that makes sense. But we're talking about a World War Hulk movie that would likely see a Hulk taking over the world. You know what I mean? We'll see. We'll keep an eye on the updates. Maybe something will make sense soon. Hunting Dude with a 10 spot says, I think they are from the fifth dimension. Could explain how they go between airspace and ocean. If they are, they could be around us and we would never see them. Very interesting. Yeah, that would be interesting. You know, most of the universe is like empty space, right? And most of the space within an atom or a molecule is empty space as well. Do you know that? But do you really know it? Like, do you really understand it? I think I've heard it said before that if you took up just the actual hard matter that makes up everything that we call hard matter, like the protons, the neutrons, the electrons, and you removed all the space between it, you could fit every human on Earth inside a shot glass. So, like, that's the degree to which our material world is made up of empty space. So, yeah. Interesting, huh? Yeah, I tend to believe something like that is the case, Hunting Dude, for sure. James R. says, waiting for the Watcher to appear any minute now. Yeah, wouldn't that be crazy? Like, what if that's the next part? Is like just some big-ass head watching over us or something like that. That would be crazy, right? That'd be kind of fun. Chris Listenfeld says, Rebel Moon pitch meeting. You know, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, honestly. The one thing that I don't see a lot of people talking about with Rebel Moon, like he talked about it a little bit with like the vagina portal. But bro, that movie is horny as fuck. Like, even within the first scenes and Korra and the whole setup on Velt, like they're literally talking about the harvest, and the homie is literally like, thrust your hips and bang each other. You guys gotta bang and make sex time. Dude, that movie's horny. And I can't believe more people aren't talking about that. But, yeah. Jacob Morris, welcome to the Nerd Vengers, and also thanks for the 5, but you didn't put anything in your super chat. So, you know, first super chat, not a success, but that's okay. Appreciate you. Riley S. says, if the new Ray movie press tour is filled with the activism and accolade is activist goobly glob, it could bomb. That's true. It could. You'd have to really turn off a lot of people pretty close to the movie releasing, and I do think that's possible. You know, we'll see. We shall see. How do you think the Ray movie is going to come out like? I mean, Man. My hope would be that it's actually kind of cool and dealing with some deep cosmic level things. A very fun villain. The sake of the galaxy on the line. Building off of some of the cool stuff that came before. Ben Solo's actually involved. Adam Driver's brought back to life. He was lying to us. Oh my God, that's so crazy. That would be like best case scenario. Worst case scenario, Rey is training Finn's children, but Finn is either dead or gone. She's calling them Skywalkers as well. It's all about all the new adopted Skywalker people, and the movie's actually about the Force truly becoming female, and Rey does something to the cosmic force where men can literally no longer tap into the Force, and we are now setting up the new era of Star Wars where the Force is literally female, men cannot use the Force, and here we are. Jacob Morris with a 10 spot says, I know you and James Gunn have your differences, but you have to admit his comic book movies are great, except for Suicide Squad. That movie is goofy and wacky, weird characters, or is it just me? Yeah, I mean, I've said this many times, but yeah, no, I think he does good comic book movies. I'm not the biggest fan of his, like, style, so to me, like, Guardians 1 is the best movie. 3 is really good, though. I really didn't like Guardians 2. And I don't like his other stuff very much at all, including the Suicide Squad. So yeah, I mean, his own personal taste is like weird to me, but he knows comics and he knows how to make good movies. So yeah, absolutely. Superman Legacy could be great, you know, and it better be. We'll see. Thoughts on Mickey Mouse going public domain? Yeah, it's kind of cool. It's just Steamboat Willie. It's not Mickey Mouse. It's just the first iteration of that cartoon. Steamboat Willie has entered the public domain. But yeah, I think it's pretty cool. I think maybe more stuff will enter the public domain in like the next 10 years. Like I think doesn't like Star Wars itself or like DC characters and Marvel characters they're all going to start getting in there in the next 10 years unless they push it back a little bit. So yeah, I'm not really sure. It's kind of cool though, huh? Meister says, just wanted to flex my 29 months. Let's go. Hope everyone had a good week. Let's get it in 2024, Nerd Avengers. What up, Papa Josh? Watching on the replay. Hey, much love to you, brother. You get to this part of the stream. Appreciate you, man. Good 2024 so far. I'm kind of like slowly getting into 2024 though. Bro, do you guys know I haven't released a video all week? And I don't feel really good about it, but like I just haven't. Like I'm just on the main channel, I guess. We're going slow in 2024, that's for sure. What are the chances that we see Wilson Bethel's Ben Poindexter show up in Echo as Bullseye? I like the perfect place for him to show up after Echo or in Deadpool. I agree with you. I think that would be fantastic. I haven't heard anything on that. I think I heard back in the day they were going to bring that guy back. But, dude, I mean, it's been so long that I really don't know. You know, at this point, I really don't know. Captain Zukit says, I turned 32 today, almost 2 years nerd-venging. Thanks for the streams and thanks for the community and for being a fun place. Nerd-venging for life. Let's get some happy birthday wishes, some candles, some sparkles, some fun stuff in the chat for Captain Zukit. Happy birthday, my friend. I hope you're having a good one. Appreciate all the support, and I'm glad that the community continues to be a cool place for you to kick it and show, man. I really appreciate you. Jay DePlug says, better chance of seeing Thomas Jane or Hulkling in Deadpool 3. Probably neither, but I'd say Thomas Jane. Probably neither, but I'd say Thomas Jane. Smash Bro says, chill, I'm from Miami. It was a gang war in a mall. Absolutely could be. Absolutely could be. Were you there, though? Elijah says, I don't know if I can stomach 2 years of Kathleen Kennedy /activism/Ray movie coverage. I hope DC and Warhammer become more worth covering. 2 whole years. Brother, trust me, I hear you. like, I hear you. And sometimes I can get really, like, sometimes I'm there and I'm stuck there. And I'm like, damn, you know? But, you know, the past couple of weeks, I've kind of checked out a little bit of, like, I'm tweeting less, I'm spending less time online, and, you know, I personally just, I feel good. You know, I totally understand, and trust me, man, it sucks, and we're gonna go through it. Like, we're going to go through it. And all I can do is try to be a little cheeky about it, have a little fun, try to take the edge off, rant a little bit here and there, you know, and just try to keep it moving. Because, like, look, at the end of the day, we're gonna go through that. You're still probably, you know, you got Ahsoka season 2, you got Mando season 4, you've got Filoni movie, you've got other things happening. All we can do is hope that movie is not total trash fire. All we can do is hope that at some point they start talking about, like, the actual merits of the film in the world and not activism. And if they don't, all we can do is kind of just try to roll with the punches and hope that the next one's better, bro. And I know that kind of sucks, but, like, that's where we're at. And to your point, there's a lot of cool stuff that we're going to be talking about in the next couple of years. I mean, Unity, man, we're so close to getting you, like, you guys are going to be reading Unity soon. I'm so excited for that. I've been thinking so much about Unity and just the next volume and all that. Bro, Solo Leveling for you anime lovers. Super hyped up anime. So excited for that. Drops tomorrow. Warhammer stuff coming in the next couple of years. We'll start to get updates about that. Like, I would imagine by the end of the year, we get some kind of Warhammer update and start to speculate about that kind of stuff. One Piece, anime and live action. Like, dude, there's a lot of stuff to get excited about. It is unfortunate that a brand and a franchise that we love so much is doing stuff that is just not, it just feels like it's not for us. You know, I hear you. That sucks. I'm going to keep talking about it. But I'm also like, bro, we don't have to wallow in it. You know, I don't think it's the move. Like, at the end of the day, it's almost like, I think the best way to handle it is, like, you know, speak our mind, speak our piece, try to get excited about what we can, and then just kind of keep it moving, bro. You know, that's what we got to do. But trust me, I hear you. And some of my friends in the space, like, I've been talking to some of my friends. Some of my friends are, like, really bummed about it too, man. Like, and I think that's another thing people don't realize. Like, some of y'all could probably just check out on it. But, like, some of us can't. It's part of our job. You know? So, yeah, it's tough. It's really tough. All I can do is try to, like, be real. Try not to be too toxic. Try to give it a fair shake while also just being true to how I feel about it. You know? So. 'Tis what it is, my friend. Vinny says, I just tagged you on the Twitter with a video of aliens. Oh, goody! Where's it at? Oh no, this guy played us. This guy played us. And yet there are other... Oh, dude, this video looks crazy. Dang. Maybe it wasn't aliens. It's possible it wasn't. It is possible. I still believe. I don't necessarily believe that the Miami thing is real. You know what I mean? But I definitely believe. And I think that crazy things are happening all around the world. And also, that's a lot of police, bro. Like, that's a lot of police. Maybe that's just how y'all roll in Miami, but holy shit. That is a lot of police. You know what I mean? Like, if it was a contained situation, I just don't understand why there's that many police. Very cool. Very cool. Very fun. Super Battle Boy says, how do I get into the Diamond Lounge? I hit you up on Discord a week or two ago. Just hit me up again, man. When the last Diamond Lounge, I got a ton of people links, so I know for sure that I responded to a lot of messages. If I missed yours, I'm sorry, but you gotta hit me up again. Colb Dog, welcome to the Nerd Vengers, baby. Welcome back. If you had a channel that covered aliens, flat Earth, AI, shadow government, fifth dimension, prisons, theories, etc., I would watch every single day. Yeah, I totally get it. And I could potentially do that. But the reality is, like, that's not what I want to do. And as weird as it sounds, like I believe all these crazy things, right? And I have all these like concepts of like what life actually is, what we're actually here doing, what this is. And yet it still takes me to a understanding that I'm supposed to entertain and tell my stories and, send out my signal and send out my frequency and my vibration. And it's not the alien shit. You know what I mean? It's like there's this saying in Hinduism. It's like before enlightenment, you chop wood and gather water. But after enlightenment, you chop wood and gather water. And that's kind of what the Bhagavad Gita is even about, right? Not to get like too fucking wild on y'all, but that's what it is. It's like just understanding what you are. So my dharma, as weird as it is to be the nerdy pop culture YouTube guy and the comic book writer. Like, that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm not supposed to do the alien channel. You know, I just know that. David Collins says, everything always just released a video about Deadpool 3, 616 video. Thoughts? Love your work in this community. I'll have to see what he says in the video. I'll check it out, but maybe he's referencing something that I'm also thinking about, or that I'll do a video or something as well. So, yeah, I don't know. Philip Hatch says with the 10 spot, says, I watched Mahler's 8-hour video on Lord of the Rings. One thing they said was like, this is the gold standard of how to make a great trilogy. Why have so many been so terrible? Yeah, I mean, a couple of different thoughts on that. I think the one thing that's really interesting about the Lord of the Rings thing, and I assume Mahler talked about this as well, but when Peter Jackson pitched that, he didn't just say, like, here's what I would do. He showed them what he would do. Meaning, he had props made. He had sets made. He had certain things shot. And so there was like this incredible amount of planning even to do the pitch. So I think that Peter Jackson and the people he was working with at Weta were really focused on creating that world and doing it justice. And that carried through from the pitch all the way to all of the different productions. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I definitely, maybe one of the best trilogies, maybe the best trilogy we've ever had. Yeah, good stuff, man. If you had that emerging news, conspiracy, futuristic tech, I'd have unyielding content and wouldn't be beholden to Disney. Yeah, no, trust me, I get it. And I've had these kind of thoughts before too, right? But all I can tell you is that I know for certain that that's not what I'm supposed to do. All I can tell you is that I know for certain that's not my path. Yeah, I mean, maybe I'll talk more about that in like a Diamond Lounge stream or something like that, but I'm just like absolutely certain that's not what I'm supposed to do. But it's cool. I mean, I study it. I follow it. I really like it. I'm really interested. But that's not what I want to make my life. You know what I'm saying? John Moran says, then after credits for the Ray movie is KK hitting the gritty and calling the audience misogynist, LMAO. You know what? I'd honestly respect it. Like if she went that hard, right? Like if she went that hard on it, I'd respect it. Like I'd be like, damn, I still hate this movie and I still hate your face, but I respect that, Kathy, you know? you farted out loud, you know? You didn't try to hide it. Kraken says, what would it take for you to want to see Feige gone from Disney and be relieved of handling the MCU? So, you know, I've had this question privately and publicly a lot recently. And I will just say, like, look, obviously my faith in Feige has been shaken. But he's still the guy that, like, did the Infinity Saga, right? So I have to believe that he's still, like, a capable producer and he's still capable of bringing this thing back. I think for me, the ultimate test is going to be the next couple of years. You know, number one, like, what the hell is Deadpool 3 going to be like this year? And how's that going to carry? How's Comic-Con going to carry? How are the projects next year? How's the lead up to Secret Wars? And how is Secret Wars? You know? And I think if we get a couple more stinkers in, like if the Fantastic Four is terrible, if the new X-Men stuff is bad, if, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know the exact answer, but a few more really bad decisions would probably push me to that. Yeah. The Exodus says, what if the Rey movie tanks like the Marvels did? You know what's funny about that? That actually makes me want to do a little detour here and listen to something that Todd McFarlane recently said. So I watched this interview. Because I think this is actually a great explanation. This is also similar to something that Paul's been talking about, as far as the explanation for why Marvel movies are kind of like falling off a little bit here, huh? Whoa, look at all that cool Twitch stuff going on in the multi-chat. What the hell? Y'all got funny emojis over there, huh? I'm not ignoring you. What Twitch is on it? What are you even doing over there, Twitch? I don't understand. Okay, check this out. This is interesting.
And plenty of examples, actually a couple big ones last year, where people sort of went outside the normal channels and succeeded, right? That just says, fine, you make your, and people have done this before with independent movies. You make your movie and you just find a distributor, right? Mm-hmm. That one I can do in a heartbeat. So, you know, fingers crossed, you know, I'm going to give as much of an effort to those that have.
Let's talk about the Spawn
sort
movie
of
here.
live within the confines of it, and obviously Jason Blum is.
We're gonna get some emojis over there. Don't worry.
Things done. They tell me I get to read the script this month, so the email is going out this week to remind them that they promised me that. So, and. So that's, I mean, something's got to happen. Something's gonna happen. I just know myself. Something's gonna happen, because if I can't figure it out inside, I'll figure it out outside. I just know
nice.
myself. So,
Bezos let you be a Nerdvenger over there, huh, Mr. Bob Ross 2250? Hell yeah, man.
We can.
What's up with Twitch all of a sudden, man? The Twitch chat's kind of blowing up. Where you at? YouTube? Goddamn.
Parties that have been involved over the years involved.
Awesome. Well, I mean, it's been too long, so I'm excited, man. I feel it too. I feel it in the air. 2024 is the year. We're going to do it.
Well, the other thing, Chris, which is interesting, and again, we can sort of get off on a side subject.
This is cool. Check this out. This is where we're at.
Written about some of the latest superhero movies not producing as well.
This is where we're at.
Gross at the theaters. I think there's a lot of reasons for that, right? There's no one reason. But from my observation, and I'd be curious to hear yours, one of the things is it appears to me that the world audience is sort of acting like the comic book audience, in that, I get it, we can all sell issue number ones. We can all sell issue number ones, especially if they're wedged between big events or tied to big events or have characters from A-list books. So let's take Captain Marvel as an example. Put her between two Avenger movies, put a bunch of the Avengers in the middle of it. Okay, I can sell that comic book too. Give me an issue number one of Captain Marvel right in the middle of some big epic event that's going on, and I'm going to put all the most popular characters in the middle of it. I'll sell the heck out of issue number one. The question is, can I sell issue number two with none of that? Mm-hmm. And issue number three and issue number four. And so I don't know. The audience is sort of saying a little bit, I think, that there are like, we like superhero movies, it's just that some are A and some are Bs, maybe even some are C pluses, right? And we do the same in comic book, right? I don't know. I don't think you and I would say that the Eternals are the same as Hulk or Iron Man, right? We were ranking them, right? And so the audiences, I think, are sort of doing what we've been doing arguably for decades, just ranking them, right? So I don't know, if I was sitting in a Marvel boardroom, I go, you want to make money? Do another Iron Man movie, right? Yeah. Like not with, and the Downey doesn't want to do it, that's fine. You can go get somebody else. Batman been succeeding without, Michael Keaton for a long time. So like, he's an A guy to the moviegoer. So play the A guys. I think that they possibly got a bit of a false positive on Guardians of the Galaxy, thinking they could take sort of a little bit of an obscure.
That's actually, and this I know is I've heard Paul make this point, I think on the podcast he does with Alba. I think he made this exact point where he was like, I feel like they had a false positive with Guardians, and then all of a sudden they were like, we can make any superhero work. And yeah, like that's
group of characters and turning them all into A. I think Guardians of the Galaxy was a bit of a false positive. Mm-hmm. Where it didn't work for Shang-Chi or Black Widow or whatever, even to some extent on DC side with Shazam and Black Adam and stuff, right? They're a tier down in our world that you and I live in, and now I think the audience is starting to say, hey, we're gonna start to rank these characters.
I agree with you, and I think that, I mean, we could talk about this all day long and break this down, but I definitely feel like, they had this situation in the mid 2000s where they didn't have Spider-Man, they didn't have X-Men, they didn't have their A guys. So they took their B guys and they moved them to A guys. But I think the problem that we've seen is now they're trying to take C characters and they're skipping a level, right? They're trying to move them up to A guys and they're not putting them in that B category.
I think that's a good point too.
I think that's an issue I think we saw with like Spider-Man. Like they just introduced Spider-Man in Civil War. We'd already had 2 Spider-Man movies, and then they tried to take like characters that are like 10 years old in the comic books, which is baby, right? They're like babies Marvel in the comic books. And they're trying to introduce them without like giving them origins. Like we don't know their origins. Like we all know how Spider-Man got started. We all know how Batman got started. You don't have to see those origins play out on the big screen exactly. But I think there's a lot of characters that they've tried to introduce and throw in at the audience that they really don't know who those people are.
There's also expectations of everything. Everything in business, you have to have realistic expectations. Yeah. 15 years ago, if I would say to you, hey, I'm going to do an Ant-Man movie and it's going to make $400 million, people would be dancing, going, oh my God. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But now, because they've had so much success, they have an Ant-Man movie comes out globally, makes $400 million, and they're going, oh man, right? And you're going, what? What do you, like 15 years ago, you would have been ecstatic with those results, right?
Back to work,
RJ. So we like
much
$400 million for Ant-Man. That's, to me, I don't know. I would take that because I know in my mind where Ant-Man is ranked within all the superheroes at that company. Mm-hmm. Like, cool, right? If I got $400 million for Suicide Squad, same thing. I'm like, okay, they're not my A group, right? Yeah. I know you want them to be, but they're not initially out of the gate, brand awareness wise to the world. They're not coming out as A's. And like I said, you've had some nice success with Guardians of the Galaxy and to another extent with Doctor Strange, but I think those are more exceptions than the rules.
Yeah,
right?
I agree.
We all know the 10. They're like, I think superheroes are like sports. We all know the 8 or 10 all-stars, and then all the other names are kind of nebulous to us, right?
Right.
I mean, my wife knows who Tom Brady is, right? Like Patrick Mahomes. She knows those names. But if I go down the next tier, no, right? And if I go down to like the third tier, Joe Flacco's doing great for Cleveland. Like, what? What did you just say?
The further down you go, the more niche it becomes.
And you got to spend more money marketing and doing whatever else. So again, the easy answer is, to me, then do.
Yeah, no, it's a good point, man. I just wanted to play that because it was something I shared it on Twitter yesterday, but I was like, man, that's like a really good point. Because there's all sorts, like everybody's trying to figure it out, right? Everybody's like, what's going on? And I love the thing that he said where it's like, well, this is just matching up to comics, where basically like Yeah, that happens in comics. Like, you've got your A-listers, you've got your B-listers, you've got your C-listers, you've got your D-listers, right? And it's just so ironic because, like, All New, All Different was literally a whole time where they were like, yo, let's grab up a bunch of these B and C's and try to sell them as A's, and it didn't work. And then Feige was like, but I can do that because I made Guardians of the Galaxy, and he couldn't. I mean, I think that's ultimately really the lesson of the last 3 years is like, no, you were wrong. Like, that, you can't do that. Play the hits. Play the A side, man. Like, that's what people want. So,
What?
Just kind of interesting. Wanted to kind of bring that up. Okay, let's get back into the Q&A. Sorry. Chillin' says, it is now 2024 and the future of the MCU will be decided this summer. Deadpool will either keep the MCU alive till 25 or it will kill it. Nerd Vengeance for life. Take my money. Hey, I appreciate you chilling. I think that in a lot of ways you're probably right. This is probably going to be a make or break year for Marvel. I think Deadpool's a huge part of that. So, yeah, I tend to actually agree. I tend to actually agree with that point. Why do I feel like I missed a... Why did I miss... Why does it feel like I missed some Super Chats? Did I miss some Super Chats, guys? Did they just not show up? Elijah says, you can't say Shang-Chi is B tier. That's racist. Wah. No, dude, Shang-Chi is very clearly B. Like, just super obviously B. So, yeah. And also appreciate everybody on Twitch. Appreciate all the Jeff Bezos money coming our way. I'm going to try to get the Twitch so you guys have the actual badges and get it connected to the actual Discord. And we'll get all of that hopefully going on by next week. But you missed my marked post. What does that mean? Marked post. Is that like a Twitch thing? Should I be looking at Twitch right now? Is there something going on in Twitch? I don't understand. I love how the chat box has both chats, though. It has, like, the Twitch chat and the YouTube chat. I wish it had, like, the Kick chat and everything like that, B is very, very generous. That's true. He's probably C. Let's be real. But a great movie. Great movie. An A character or plural characters needs to be in every project, and credit scenes don't count. I agree with that. I think that's a good move. I think that would be good. Sarcasm, Josh. I know, Elijah. Gosh. I know that. Okay, everybody. Much love. Appreciate you all so much. Thanks for being here. Like I said, big video hopefully coming out later today, if not tomorrow, and then we'll have one maybe on Saturday or on Sunday as well. But got some good videos in the tank. Got some cool ideas for streams moving forward. So bada boom, bada bing. 2024. We're rolling, baby. We're rolling. Appreciate y'all. As I always say, I hope you prevent forest fires and are having an awesome and a nerdy day. And I'll see you in the next video. Is everybody gone? Did everybody leave? Leave, leave, leave. Leave, 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 leave. Leave, 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 leave. Leave, 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 leave. Ah, another happy landing. Ah, man. That was a fun one, man. We got aliens, we got some conspiracies. Talked about some news, some rumors, watched some fun videos. Hey, I appreciate y'all. I really do. Once again, thank you for your time, your attention. Thank you for the likes, the subscribes, the member chats, the super chats, the Jeff Bezos money. I appreciate it all. Thank you. Should have multiple videos for you guys in the next couple of days. Hopefully today. But if not, over the weekend. And then I'll be getting back into it for the rest of January. Because, like, I got to make videos. I'm sitting here like, damn, bro, I better make some videos. So we'll have a lot of videos coming out in January and coming out for the rest of the year. Good things are coming. I was swimming with the seabirds last night, Mr. Cheeto. And good things are coming. Cheetah, open up your third eye and watch out your stinky, stinky butt. I'll see you later.